When a company announces that they're bringing out a professional level race car, it immediately sparks interest. But when people find out that it's their first attempt, then it sparks controversy. Today I'm reviewing the Rlaarlo DSK, and we're going to push it harder than anyone has done before in a professional race setting.
That's definitely not a 1/8 scale, Pete.
We're going to find the weak points and then modify it and then push it even harder. So stay tuned, this is going to be a big one. So I'm going to be building this car from the ground up, and I am aware that it's going to be a little bit boring for some of you. So if you'd like to skip 7 minutes into the video, that's where all the action starts. But I will warn you, if you're planning on building one of these cars, there's a few things you're going to want to know, so it may be worth sticking around.
I'll tell you what, even with no grease in there, that is starting to feel very nice. It's almost techno smooth, dare I say.
So the build is getting there, we're getting closer, but next up it's time to fit the electrics. Now Rlaarlo have really kindly supplied me with some electrics for the build. However, they don't fit. Now I know what you're all thinking. Ungrateful beast. No, that's not the case. You see, I've heard a lot of things about these electrics, and to be honest, as they come, they're not really set up correctly. They've got no brakes and not really any acceleration, I don't think either. They're just not really very good. I think the motor might be okay, but the ESC's been programmed wrong and it's just got no oomph. It's just, you know. However, I do have a lovely Max 10 No, it's not a Max 10. A lovely Max 8 combo lying around. It's the G2 censored version. It's one of the best combos that you can get for these kind of cars. So I'm not being ungrateful, I'm just making sure that Rlaarlo's car doesn't look worse than it actually is by Faulty Electrics, because, you know, that's a separate issue. So we're going to get that Max 8 in there, and then get the body shell, the shocks, and the wheels and tyres sorted. And for most of that, I'm going to need a bit of a hand, and we'll go more into that in a minute. So Rlaarlo actually give you the option to run your electrics either facing forward or backwards. What's really annoying is that doesn't actually apply to these censored motors, i.e. the 4278 can motors. They just don't fit in the forward-facing setup. So we're going to build the car with the electrics facing the back, which I wouldn't have preferred to do, to be honest, but it's just how it is. And we're going to see how it performs. If it's awful, then we can always flip it round. But to be honest, I don't think it's going to make that much difference. It just would have been nice to see that you could fit the motor in both configurations, because it's only about 3mm too long, which is just stupid. Anyway. Now that is my half of the build completely done, and to be honest, it was pretty seamless. The only slight problem I did have was right at the start when I was putting the differentials together. I found that they didn't want to go together if they had all the shims in there. I'm not really sure why that is, because I've not heard anyone else mention that. So that's just something that you might have to be wary of when you buy one. If you do want to run the 4278 cam motors, whether it's the Rlaarlo one or the Hobbywing ones or Castle ones, then you can't do that if the motor's facing forward. Otherwise, marvellous. So the last two jobs is the body shell and the shocks. Now with the body shell, I politely popped down to Dub's Custom Works. I've left the body shell with him, and he's going to do us a lovely paint job, so thank you so much, Martin. There's a link in the description to Dub's Custom Works below. For the shocks, I've enlisted the help of Mr. Badlands. Once again, I very politely popped down there. Carry on. So brilliant. And gave him the bag of all 4 shock absorbers. The reason for this is because Pete is quite an expert, you know, being Mr. Badlands, the guy who owns the racetrack. He stands more of a chance that tuning the shocks and building them to the correct standard. I really don't. It's just one of the things in this hobby that I can't do. That and soldering. So now with the help of Dub's Custom Works, Mr. Badlands, and of course, Rlaarlo RC, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you my Dragon Scale Knight. So we've got a full race day ahead of us today, and it's going to be a good test for the Rlaarlo. Obviously, this is the first time they've released a car like this, so it's going to be interesting to see. I'm really hoping it's going to do really well, but it's a tall order to keep up with these cars. We're racing Technos, S-Works, X-Ray, and they're fast drivers, so we'll see how it goes.
Why is there a plane now? Go away.
So at Badlands, how it works is we all hit the track in the morning and try and put our fastest laps in, and that determines what group we're in. Then throughout the day, we have 3 heats, and then at the end, the final. So it's more or less a bit of practice in the morning and then 4 races throughout the day. Here we go then. Good luck, guys. So qualifying didn't go quite as well as I was hoping. Our fastest lap was 26 seconds, and a good lap round Badlands is more like 19 to 20. So we definitely had some work to do, but there was some things on the car that were already holding me back, and I'm going to go into them a little bit later on. They're looking very suave there, Harley. I like it. This is what the professional buggy users do, changing sway bars and tyres and shocks and oils and all this kind of stuff. Fettling. I was clearly going to have to do some fettling of my own, but the thing is, this is the first race day, so I wanted to run the car just out the box as it is and find out just how hard we could push it. And then later on, we're going to start doing some modding. But for now, we're going to jump into the main races. So as the day went on, I started to get more and more comfortable with the car, which meant I could push it harder and harder. But I could not escape the fact that there was a big problem with it, and it was something we were going to have to change before I could do any more races, because to be honest, it wasn't really fair on the car to test it under these circumstances. I'll explain. So that is our first race day complete, and to be honest, it could have gone better. Now, in my defence and also the car's defence, this is my first time ever racing buggies. For the last 2 years, I've raced the truggies, and it's very, very different. However, I could definitely feel that there were some things on the car that needed changing, mainly the tyres. So I bought a set of Schumacher mini pin tyres. The reason these are going to be better is because the DSK actually comes with dirt tyres in the box, and for AstroTurf, they just don't work at all. So it's not really the car's fault. It's just been equipped with the wrong stuff for what we're using it for. So we're going to get these fitted, and then we may well be seeing a much better race car, because it's definitely got the potential. It just needs a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of help. So possibly by the end of the video, we're going to have a really decent car here. There's the owner out there, ladies and gentlemen, riding his dirt bike around the track. That's definitely not a 1/8 scale, Pete. Well, here we are 1 week later, and hopefully with our new tyres, it's going to make a real difference to the car. Some people say that your tyres are 90% of your setup, so hopefully now we're going to stand a chance. Let's find out. So this is it, the same as last week, the qualifying, 3 heats and then the final. And remember, you can all come and do the same! First race went really well. We came second place in a group of, I think there was about 9 of us, so that was really good.
Much to Toby and Paul. Oh, Toby!
Curryfoot finished.
So there we go. Don't ask why I'm called Curryfoot, everybody, but that is us in first place. There we go. So I'm running this car on these Hobby King Turnigy batteries, and they're actually really good. I've had them for a couple of months now. They sent them out to me to review them, but to be honest, I didn't really want to do just a single battery review video, because the trouble is when you just do one review on a battery, you never really know if it's going to be good long term. So this way, I'm going to be showing them in every video I do, if it involves a 4S battery, and then that way we can find out if they're actually any good. But like I say, I've had them for a couple of months, and so far they've been really good. So there's a link in the description if you want to pick up some for yourself. So with these new tyres, the car was transformed, and I truly mean that. It was driving like a proper race car. So tyres, I'm starting to believe, are a big part of setup. So if you're going to be buying one of these cars to race on AstroTurf, definitely get yourself a set of mini pins. He did 2 laps like that. 3 laps.
I was doing so well. I was up in first, miles in front.
And then it broke. The Rlaarlo, on the other hand, is actually proving itself to be rather good. I think with these new tyres on there, a little bit of setup, this thing is a contender, 100%. Ooh. So that was another race day for the DSK complete. And before we go into the results, I've just got to show you this. Dave's flapping, everybody! He's in second place. He's got the champion 3 years in a row chasing him down. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he still had another 2 laps to go with only half a tyre. Oh! No!
Oh, it's going to happen, wasn't
Then have the last lap. Brad last lap. Last lap. Last lap.
Well, they don't call you hardcore for nothing. That joke landed like a pigeon poo on a windscreen. So after a good couple of weeks of testing, what are my final thoughts on the DSK? Well, I would like to say that it has had a lot more track time than it would appear. To get all the shots for this video, we've gone down, done a couple of practice days to get all the footage that we need. So it's had a lot of track time, and it's given me time to decide my final opinion and find out that actually the car's not perfect. A couple of problems I've definitely run into is the leaky situation, and it's not terrible, but the front shock's definitely leaking a tiny bit. and the centre diff was leaking a little bit as well. Not much, and that could have just been from where we were assembling it, so, you know. But all joking aside, I was there when Pete was building the shocks, and they didn't look perfect. The O-rings weren't great. It appeared that it might need some better ones in there, so that could be a factor. But the rear ones are fine, so it's just something to be a little bit mindful of. But otherwise, I'm not sure I can fault the car. Back on our first race day, I did have a problem where the servo saver came loose mid-race, which was such a pain, but that was kind of down to me not Loctiting it. So I've not traditionally, there we go, Loctited servo savers, because they've normally got an O-ring in there, so you don't need to do it. But on this, I've decided to. It's harsh racing, so, you know, often it needs to be done. For racing, it is a great competitor, so there is a link in the description if you want to get one for yourself.